It's called ramen, a simple bowl of noodles that's cheap and quick. In Japan, they inhale it, vacuum cleaner style. But when it comes to maniac obsession, nothing comes close to this tongue-scorching dish. There's a bottomless appetite for ramen TV shows and ramen festivals, where chefs face off with their latest concoctions judged by ramen pundits. This ramen expert says the Japanese adapted ramen from China, the way they adapted and improved cell phones and computers. And with competition steaming among ramen makers, they're still adapting. Innovations like this two-time champ, black soup ramen. Ramen is for every day, this chef says. It's the ultimate people's food. Japan's noodle fixation was immortalized in the 1985 movie Tampopo, the story of a woman's quest to make the perfect bowl of ramen. Japan even has a ramen theme park with movie stage sets which evoke the dawn of noodle mania half a century ago. It features 9 different varieties of ramen from around the country. And now Americans are discovering Japan's guilty pleasure. Ramen is the national dish of Japan, as popular here as hamburgers are in America. But this is not just any fast food, it's a feast for the senses. It starts with inhaling the aroma and then savoring the flavor notes of the soup before tucking into the noodles with gusto. While complex soups and secret recipes are the mark of a skilled chef, noodles tend to be a factory-made afterthought. But not for New York native Ivan Orkin. A former French chef, Orkin traded in his foie gras a few years ago to become Japan's first and only American maestro of ramen.
It's like eating ribs. There's no way to eat ribs without a smile on your face. And ramen is the same thing. It's messy, it's gooey, it's sticky, it's full of, illicit flavor.
Now with 2 Tokyo eateries under his belt, Orkin has become a ramen superstar. For his eclectic noodles, made with exotic ingredients like soy milk and roasted tomatoes, nothing less than the gourmet treatment will do.
In a good bowl of ramen, I guess I like to say that you don't know where the beginning is and where the end is. It just all seems to flow together in a perfect harmony.
So this is comfort food, Japanese style, where it's rude to eat politely and good manners to have fun.
Chicken soup is an age-old folk remedy for many an ailment. And, says our Nancy Giles, for many a good reason.
At the first sign of sniffles, what do? Take 2 aspirin and go to bed? Chug some cold medicine? Perhaps, but some say the best cure is one of the oldest and the tastiest.
Why do they consider it Jewish penicillin? I mean, are there particular properties that can help with a cold?
When I was making soup the other day, there was something about the aroma of chicken soup, and it just felt good. And when I have a cold, it's the first thing that I'll get.
Joan Nathan is a cookbook author and historian, who some call the Jewish Julia Child. She says chicken soup has been on the menu for centuries.
The first recorded mention of chicken soup was somebody named Discorides, who was an army surgeon general in Rome. But then later, Maimonides, who was a Jewish philosopher, a scientist, and he said that chicken soup was a panacea for so many different things. Asthma, weight gain like bone soup is today, leprosy.
Since Maimonides' time, chicken soup has been prescribed by grandmothers and doctors alike. But many believe there really is evidence to support the prescription. As chicken cooks, it releases an amino acid resembling properties in medicine used to fight infections such as bronchitis. And in 2000, a study found that chicken soup may also reduce inflammation. Less inflammation equals fewer symptoms.
It smells so good. I can feel it go right to the core of my stomach.
Our love for chicken soup is universal. But there are as many recipes as there are countries where it's eaten. In Greece, lemon and egg are added to chicken broth. In Thailand, plenty of lime juice and coconut. Southerners add dumplings. And for Jews, matzo balls.
So matzo balls started out being made from the actual matzah, and now are they made from like matzah meal?
Manischewitz came along and put out a cookbook for when they made matzah meal. And the cookbook talked about heavenly Alsatian balls. They didn't call it matzo balls. That's when they really became part of American culture, through commercialism and through people wanting to do things a little bit easier.
Traditionally, the matzah ball was served at Passover, the Jewish holiday commemorating the Israelites' freedom from Egypt, which began last night.
Do you have a preference, fluffy or dense?
Fluffy. The fluffier the matzo ball, that is the ultimate. You should take a spoon and be able to put it on your spoon, but it needs to be airy.
David Tafe is the executive chef at New York's 2nd Avenue Deli, where they've been ladling chicken soup and matzo balls into bowls since opening in 1954.
I'll tell you the secret, using schmaltz, chicken fat.
Schmaltz is chicken fat.
Yeah, my brother had a saying, he said, anyone who makes matzo balls, not with schmaltz, it's an assimilated matzo ball.
And deli owner Jack Liebwald would know. These matzo balls are the lucky ones. After cooking, they'll join their mate, chicken soup.
What makes this soup so iconic?
Quality of the chicken we use, the amount of bones that we use, and just less is more.
Less is more. But what the soup lacks in ingredients, it more than makes up for in history, tradition, and family.
They are elegant and beautiful, whimsical and weird, and all of them are covered dishes known as soup tureens.
In the whole collection, we have close to 500 tureens.
That's a lot of soup.
It is a lot of soup. Yes.
Leslie Grigsby oversees the collection here at Winterthur Museum in Delaware. The ones in this gallery, a gift from the Campbell Soup Company. This water buffalo head was made in China in the 1760s for the European market. You know, the details they choose are quite fascinating, like the slightly bloodshot eyes and then the full set of teeth.
Well, at least he's smiling, so that helps a little bit.
This is not a Thanksgiving turkey. It was made in France in the 1700s as the whole continent became taken with tureens.
They were considered a statement of the wealth and sophistication of the owner.
Over the years, affordable versions were made for everyday folks.
It's a goose whose neck goes and is tucked under the wing.
Historians have several explanations for the word tureen. Grigsby says the most superb leads to the 17th century French military leader Vicomte de Turenne.
And there was a story that some soldiers came upon him and he was eating his soup out of his helmet.
And one famed American military leader owned several tureens. So this is very exciting. I am looking at George Washington's tureen.
That's right. It has a type of design on it that shows a little eagle-shaped badge.
It's part of a service that celebrated Washington's membership in a group of Revolutionary War officers known as the Society of the Cincinnati. What kind of boat is that?
It's a boat that wouldn't go very far in one direction, isn't it?
Anne Wagner is in charge of Winterthur's precious metal tureens. This fanciful silver vessel was created for Russian Empress Catherine the Great. This masterpiece, made in London in 1824, also has an ocean theme.
This is a Triton calling you from the sea, and that's very nautical, absolutely.
A twin sold at auction in 2014 for almost $500,000. Alas, not every tureen is a thing of beauty. Until I saw some of the ones here, I always thought mine, with its gigantic flowers, was the world's least attractive.
But this one's up there, I have to say. It's wonderful. A mother would love it.
May I serve you?
Yes, please.
Of course, like most people these days, I rarely take time to scoop soup from a tureen. Do you think the soup tastes better because it came from a tureen?
I do. I do. You have to have a little bit of magic in your life.
Who knew in 1982, when I published my very first book, Entertaining, that in 2024, I'd be standing here telling you about my 100th book, 100 of my favorite recipes, with backstories and vintage pictures. This recipe might seem a little bit odd to be included in 100 of my favorite recipes, but it is one of my favorite soups, the buttermilk potato onion soup. And it is extremely simple and extremely peasanty. All you do is boil up an assortment of potatoes. I used one Peruvian blue from the garden, and here's a little red potato. Boil them very well or steam them until they are fork tender. Cut out every eye or any little defects as you are peeling them. The onions are very finely sliced and sauteed in butter and olive oil. A little bit of salt and pepper, and they are ready to add to the soup. This one gets a blue potato, a yellow potato, and a Yukon Gold potato, and a nice helping of caramelized onions. The onions and the potatoes should be hot. And then don't forget to shake your buttermilk, and then just pour the buttermilk around. Made a mess. Never serve with a dirty rim on your plate. To top it off, some sprigs of fresh dill. Just sprinkle fresh dill. It adds exactly the right amount of kind of Slavic flavor, I call it. I got this recipe, I guess my mom's mom handed it down to her. My mom's mom actually immigrated here from Poland in the early part of the 20th century, and this was one of their favorites. Have to have a little taste. This is the exact way that Mom served it. Hi, Mom. Really good. Well, I hope this book gives you really great recipes, inspires you to maybe even write your own cookbook. And I hope you enjoy it.
This unassuming little soup just might bowl you over.
It is a chunky beer and cheese with beef and bacon.
How's that for a mouthful?
Guy soup.
It is guy soup. This is guys, you might be sitting down to watch a football game or something.
You have actually designed a soup to go with watching a football game?
We have.
Mark Alexander, president of Campbell Soup North America, says the chefs in the test kitchen are encouraged to soup things up.
We're making many more flavors. We're making literally hundreds of flavors.
After all, the country is growing more diverse by the minute.
So what are some of the more adventurous ones here?
Well, I don't know if you're into jambalaya, but there's a jazzy jambalaya with chicken sausage and ham, and kickin' buffalo style chicken.
Even the new packaging is a little uncanny. But with 2 billion containers of Campbell soup sold in America each year, there are some old standby recipes the company wouldn't dare touch, like chicken noodle, made with engineering precision.
Chicken noodle soup has 32 feet of noodles in every can.
How can that be?
It has been measured, and it is true.
I can see people at home, opening a can of soup and lining it
Lining
all up
up?
just to check it.
I recommend it.
Another mind-boggling trade secret lurks in every can of chunky sirloin burger.
There's about 8 or 10 little mini burgers in each one, and each one has little grill marks on them.
So how do they do that?
Well, we can't tell you that.
So they have tiny little grills that they put them on?
Little chefs and little
Tiny
grills
little
and
chef.
little flippers, yeah.
And you thought soup was boring. Nope, soup's on. And somewhere, Andy Warhol must be smiling.
I'm Seth Doan in Italy, sampling tortellini in brodo, that's broth in Italian. It's traditionally a comfort food for the holidays, but in 2020, it's welcome in any season.
If I have to take one dish to a desert island for the rest of my life, this would be it.
That's saying something for Rolando Beramendi, a chef and cookbook author.
Did you put tortellini in brodo in your book?
No, I didn't, because it's so complicated that I think it would be very difficult to translate. It's incredible.
Even he leaves it to the experts. That means for a good 30 years, he's come to Trattoria Camillo, a 4-generation family restaurant in Florence, where they make it look simple.
As Leonardo da Vinci said, simplicity is the ultimate art of sophistication.
First, owner Chiara Mazziero gets the pasta or sfoglia as thin as possible. Then there's the filling and the flourish.
And we make the triangle, close at the point. This one comes down. Tortellino, perfetto.
She's made a few tortellini in her time. Just how many?
Qualche milione.
Some millions. And then you've got the filling here.
Her recipe for the filling, ground pork and turkey, mortadella, prosciutto, and Parmesan cheese, was her father's. He was from Bologna, which lays claim to this pasta, and where it fills stomachs, storefronts, and has taken on almost mythical status.
One of the tall tales of tortellini is that an innkeeper spied on Venus, the goddess of love, through a keyhole, and then created a pasta in the shape of her navel.
Today, the pasta itself is lust-worthy, and aficionados say there's only one way to truly appreciate it.
You worked so hard to develop this sfoglia with the eggs and that filling. The only way is you exalt all those flavors by putting it in brodo.
At Bologna's Paolo Atti and Sons, the skilled hands of Etta Grandi can turn out 350 tortellini an hour.
Quindi si deve sentire solo il ripieno.
You don't want to taste the pasta, you want to taste the filling.
Esatto.
The Bolognesi are religious about their tortellini. Owner Francesco Bonaga told us they had some of theirs hand-delivered to Pope Francis.
Il vescovo spiega al Papa.
Here he said you can see the bishop explaining to Pope Francis that tortellini must be cooked in broth.
Anche il Papa ascoltato.
The
Pope listened.
Attentamente.
Yes, he added, with great attention.
The tortellini is going to absorb all the beautiful succulence of that broth.
Rolando Beramendi explained the broth, vegetables and hearty cuts of beef, all strained before serving, is essential to the balance of this specialty.
What's more important in this equation, the tortellini or the broth?
That's a tough question. It's almost like to be or not to be, right?
This comforting dish is so simple yet complex that some believe the central ingredient deserves to be celebrated as a hero.
A few weeks after Labor Day, when we've indulged in every ripe tomato, picked every perfect peach, and shucked countless ears of sweet corn, our attention turns to fall, and in my opinion, no other single ingredient screams the turning leaves of cuisine than the pumpkin. Let me first go on the record by saying I'm a huge pumpkin fan. As soon as there's a little nip in the air, my menus at my restaurants are studded with the word pumpkin everywhere. There's pumpkin soup with pomegranate and pumpkin seeds, pumpkin tamales, pumpkin waffles for brunch, and for dessert, I've done pumpkin custards and creme brulees, pumpkin cheesecakes, and this year we're serving triple pumpkin bread pudding. Even when I was a kid, pumpkin pie was my go-to on Thanksgiving. So much so, I even named my first cat Pumpkin. Guess what color he was? Pumpkin as a concept is a good one. However, pumpkin as an ingredient is really an imposter. Why? Because pumpkin tastes like nothing. Well, maybe not nothing, but really not much at all. I've been on a book tour lately where I've been polling lots of people about the taste of pumpkin. Most people respond with, pumpkin tastes like cinnamon, or it has a spicy flavor. Some people say it tastes sweet and earthy. All of those descriptions are true, but what they're tasting is not pumpkin, but the ingredients that mask the true flavor of pumpkin. Pumpkin's best friends range from the spice rack like cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, and clove to the sweet rack like maple syrup, honey, and molasses. The pumpkin is just a figurehead to some of our favorite things to consume. Take my pumpkin soup recipe from Mesa Grill, for instance, which year after year is the #1 most requested recipe in all of my restaurants. I start with plain roasted pumpkin puree that you can either roast fresh yourself or right out of the can. Thin it out in a saucepan with chicken stock or water and begin adding the following ingredients to bring flavor to the party: cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and some allspice. Add a pureed chipotle chili pepper. Sweeten and balance the spices by adding some maple syrup and honey. Then I add a little creme fraiche to the soup to give it a little bit of a creamy texture. Season it with salt and pepper to your taste, and garnish with some toasted pumpkin seeds. I promise you, it's simple, delicious, and a terrific starter for any Thanksgiving dinner, but it doesn't taste like pumpkin. Happy holidays.
The hungry and homeless of Philadelphia can always find a place at the table thanks to a pair of restaurateurs with big hearts and hard-earned personal experience. Nancy Giles serves up their story.
Something unusual is happening in the city of brotherly love. A new restaurant called Rooster Soup Company opened earlier this year, and it has a lot to crow about already. It's been named one of America's top 10 new restaurants by both Food & Wine and GQ magazines. Rooster Soup is also doing well in another way. It gives away every penny of its profits.
Someone might say that you guys are just doing this for good press.
I mean, I think that there are probably easier ways to get press. Opening a restaurant with 100% of the profit going to somebody else is like a crazy thing.
Chef Mike Solomonoff and his business partner, Steve Cook, run Rooster Soup and a small empire of restaurants in Philadelphia. Their kind of crazy fit right in with the radical mission of Broad Street Ministry, where all that money is going.
We like to say that we exercise radical hospitality.
What does that mean?
So for me, radical hospitality means that in this space, everyone is welcome, just the way they are.
Mike Dahl is the executive director of Broad Street Ministry, located in a 100-year-old Presbyterian church in the heart of Philadelphia, one of the poorest big cities in America. Broad Street has delivered radical hospitality to thousands of Philly's most needy since 2008 by providing shelter when it's cold and hot meals for the hungry.
And so 7 times a week, we open our doors to the most vulnerable populations in Philadelphia.
Thanks for coming. So lucky. Hey, Miss Deborah. How you doing, darling? All right.
And we welcome them in and provide them with a warm and nutritious meal.
You're going to like that enchilada, too.
And it's served at the table with linen and with china by volunteers who are going to treat the guests just like you'd want to be treated, with dignity, with respect, with care.
It's nice to have you. Did you get a card?
The guests, as they're called at Broad Street, may be homeless, drug addicted, or just lonely. It doesn't matter.
There's no judgment.
No judgment. And like they say, if you here, you belong here. They got a sign outside.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
They don't care how bad you look, how bad you smell. Everybody gets treated the same. You don't feel like you're going to a soup kitchen. You almost feel like you're going to a restaurant. They serve you. The food is absolutely outstanding. Their services here are ridiculously good.
Ridiculously good service? That may be because many of the waiters and waitresses doing the serving are professionals, so inspired by Broad Street's radical hospitality, they're working for free. Just like Rooster Soup's Steve Cook did when he first volunteered at Broad Street 4 years ago and got inspired himself.
So I came back pretty charged up from that first experience, and Mike and I talked about it, and I said we really ought to bring our staff here.
Let's go.
Charging up the staff wasn't very hard. Witness how the crew at Zahav, Mike and Steve's 4-star Israeli-American restaurant, often start their shift.
We have to get people charged and excited, and sometimes that requires disco dancing.
And when he's not doing splits, Mike mans the oven.
Mike, what do you make back here?
I make all the bread.
Okay.
Right? So this is laffa, which is like an Iraqi-style pita.
It's called what?
It's called laffa.
Mike's laffa bread and hummus.
Hummus.
Hummus. Hummus.
Hummus. There you go. You nailed it.
The hummus and the rest of his menu have earned him 4 prestigious James Beard Awards. He was named Outstanding Chef in America just this May.
It's an amazing success, this restaurant, but it could have very easily gone a different way. I mean, Mike, you quote yourself as saying, "Nobody expects someone like me to be a recovering crackhead." How is that you? How did that happen?
Then after my younger brother was killed in action in the Israeli military, the way that I coped with it, or thought I was coping, was to use and abuse substances.
Mike was using not just crack, but heroin. When Steve found out about it back in 2008, Zahav's first year of business.
So it was a really difficult year. I leaned on Steve tremendously. Steve, I feel like, is at this point a drug counselor.
That's
So we lucked
incredible.
out.
That's
I
incredible
lucked out.
friendship.
And the first thing that Steve said was that we know that you have a problem, and we want to help you, and we want to take you to detox.
Some of the people that are benefiting from Broad Street aren't as lucky as you were.
There are people that are just like me, right? That didn't have support.
That's right.
That are now living on the street, and unfortunately, none of us are really immune to that.
These two give Philly's brotherly love nickname some real meaning.
First week that we were open, Steve cut a check to Broad Street Ministry, which is probably enough to serve like hundreds of people.
Oh my God.
So it's that sort of tangible.
And all that money they're raising at Rooster Soup is changing lives at Broad Street.
And they basically saved my life.
Wow.
Like, for real, I was thinking of just ending it.
I've had so many times where people have said, this place saved my life. Look, we're so grateful for the money that's going to come across to help our mission, but I think the promise of Rooster Soup is so much more than that.
It's a model, I feel like, that should be all over the country.
That would be a great thing.
I hope you are hungry.
It depends. If you've ever wondered what former President Richard Nixon ate on special occasions, and really who hasn't wondered, ask Bennett Ray. At first glance, this looks like a delicious dessert, something strawberry.
Yeah, sadly, there's no strawberries. This is ham mousse, a favorite of Richard Nixon's, a Pat Nixon recipe that we're going to try.
Ray hosts the online series Cookin' with Congress out of his Claremont, California kitchen.
I'm eating like the president for an entire day, and today it's Teddy Roosevelt, the man, the myth, the legend.
Where he recreates the recipes of politicians past and present. Cheers.
Cheers.
Richard Nixon's ham mousse is not for the faint of stomach.
I'm not happy.
Okay, yeah. So this is it?
This is it. This is the book. Yeah.
Ray was first inspired by this 1989 South Dakota Centennial Cookbook, a gift from his wife's grandmother.
I saw all these recipes, right? It was from congresspeople, senators, lieutenant governors, H.W. Bush, from Ronald Reagan, and they were all terrible. It made me laugh so hard seeing these like very serious politicians with their very serious recipes for like happy ham and wine jelly. I just fell in love with it.
Cumin, coriander, garam masala.
And so he's cooked and consumed everything from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's little mocha hot dishu to former Rep. George Santos's carbonara with snow peas to former Senator Larry Craig's super tuber.
Senator Larry Craig made me shove a hot dog through an entire potato.
But it was when Ray decided to eat like all of America's former presidents that he was cooking with gas.
I had this idea to really have the firsthand experience of what it feels like to eat like them and see what I discover.
Lunch, 4 lamb chops, turtle soup.
Things got heavy when he ate like President William Howard Taft for a day. How heavy? 8,200 calories heavy.
Every meal was a feast. I mean, starting with 12-ounce steak.
For breakfast.
For breakfast, yes. Steak for breakfast, like alarmingly popular.
In the 19th century.
Yes, yes. But his doctor had actually told him, you need to cut down to 12 ounces from your regular 24-ounce steak in the morning.
Wow. We were in the kitchen with Ray when he was preparing President James Garfield's favorite starter,
So this is James Garfield's squirrel soup?
Yes.
And it actually looks terrific. Ooh, it smells good.
The 20th president was in office for 5 months when he was shot in July of 1881. Garfield lay dying for almost 3 months.
They tried to use this soup to revive the president whenever he was on his deathbed.
Excellent.
Pretty good, right?
I'm sorry that President Garfield didn't live longer to enjoy this more.
You might be asking where one finds the main ingredient in squirrel soup. That's where Ray's father comes in.
He always keeps, 3 or 4 gray squirrels in the freezer. And it's kind of cool because he's from Western Pennsylvania, James Garfield from Ohio. So you're pretty much getting the exact kind of squirrel that would have been around in the 1880s.
Very nice. And it made me forget about Richard Nixon's ham mousse.
Yeah, sorry I had to, just don't look that way.
Why have shrimp on a salad when you can have shrimp inside?
While eating like politicians might seem like a niche, for Bennett Ray, it's the culmination of 2 of his lifelong ambitions.
And by the time I was 6, I really wanted to be a chef and the president of the United States at the same time. This is about as close as I can get. I don't have the bona fides to do either one, but...
I think you found a way to thread that needle
exactly.
with this project.